Hey there. Have you ever wondered why some businesses boom and other businesses disappear into the ether? Well, I'm going to show you why. It's amazing to me how many businesses they make promises and they don't keep them. And it's mind-blowing. And I'm going to show you a foolproof way to have people banging your door down to do business with you. And it's literally foolproof. I'm going to read you a passage of scripture from one of my favorite passages in the entire Bible. And it's in 1 Kings chapter 10. And you've heard me read about this before, but today I'm going to talk to you about this subject. An ounce of proof is worth 10,000 pounds of promise. What does that mean? It means don't tell me what you're going to do, show me what you did, right? So it says, when the queen of Sheba had heard of, this is in verse 1, 1 Kings chapter 10, and when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to prove him with hard questions. Now, she heard, right? And so she came. She came because of what she heard. But she didn't come because she believed what she heard. She came because she didn't believe what she heard, and she wanted to find out if it was true. Okay. She came to prove him with hard questions. And by the way, the reason monarchs, kings and queens came to pay King Solomon back in the day, and when they came, they brought hundreds of millions of dollars worth of payments for him. Wrap your mind around that. Hundreds of millions apiece. And the scripture says that all the kings of the earth came to him and paid him. And then after they got done paying him, they sent their people to come and pay him. This dude had it going on. He was like the man for real. He wasn't playing like he was the man. He wasn't pretending to be the man. King Solomon was the man. Now, what happened? Well, King Solomon was the rising tide that lifted all boats. God gave him wisdom exceeding much, more than any of the kings who had ever walked before him, more than any of the kings who would ever walk after him. And the scripture says Solomon had peace on all sides for his entire reign. The scripture says when Solomon was king, that silver was as stones in Israel. What? In other words, King Solomon was so wise, he didn't just elevate his own prosperity, he elevated the prosperity of the entire nation. See, God doesn't want to just bless you to be blessed. He wants to bless you to be a blessing. Don't miss that part. And so his reputation preceded him. But watch what happens. She came, why did monarchs come? Monarchs came to King Solomon to pay him so they could learn how to run their kingdoms as smoothly as he ran his. What does that sound like? That sounds like a consultant to me. King Solomon's business was, he was a consultant to the kings and queens of the earth. Do you understand that modern day entrepreneurs are like kings and queens? That's what modern day entrepreneurs are. That's why I love consulting. I literally built my entire business. This entire studio exists because I read this one day. The 7-figure monthly revenue that we generate right now is here because I said, I'm going to do what he did and see if it works. See if it still works. Okay, y'all tracking. Here we go. Here's what it says. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train and camels that bear spices and very much gold and precious stones. And when she came to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. Do you know how hard it is to run a business? Imagine how much harder it would be to run an entire country. I get dizzy thinking about it. How you going to run a whole country, right? Okay. And she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions. What does that mean? He answered all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king which he told her not. In other words, she did not have a single question that stumped him. And then it says, and when the queen of Sheba had seen all of Solomon, first she heard it, now she's seen it. When she had seen all of Solomon's wisdom. How do you see somebody's wisdom? Well, here's how you see wisdom. You have to understand what the Old Testament word wisdom means. See, we think wisdom means intelligence. Am I telling the truth? We think it means smarts. We think it means high IQ. We think it means big education. Wisdom doesn't mean any of those things. The Old Testament word wisdom would be translated into our modern day word skill. When she had seen the skill of Solomon. Well, how does your skill show up? It shows up in everything you do. Okay, y'all tracking. So she communed of him with all that was in her heart. He told her all her questions. And when the Queen of Sheba had seen all of Solomon's wisdom and the house that he built. So some people wonder, like, we bought this building last year for $625,000. I have put at least half of that in renovations in just this room and those 2 bathrooms. Some people wonder, why are you putting all that money in there? Because I do not have a desire for our space to misrepresent our mission. Everything has to match. Like, you can't be singing a song in B flat major and playing it in C sharp. It don't work. Anyway, y'all picking up what I'm putting down. And so the Queen of Sheba seen all Solomon's wisdom, the house that he built, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and his cupbearers, and the ascent by which he went up into the house of the Lord. There was no more breath in her. She was like, child, please. Right? He took her breath away. There was no more spirit in her. And she said to the king, it was a true report that I heard in my own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom. See, Solomon, he didn't just have a reputation, he could back it up. Let me ask you a question. Does your lifestyle back up your reputation? Or does your reputation have to back up because of your lifestyle? Up in here. It was a true report that I heard in my own land. Wrap your mind around that. She's in her own land. Solomon's reputation came to her. Myron, where do I find people to sell my stuff to? You're asking the wrong question. The right question would be, how do I make myself more findable for people who already want to buy what I already want to sell? Okay, y'all tracking. It was a true report that I heard in my own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom. Howbeit, I believe not the words. I didn't believe what I heard until I came and mine eyes have seen it. And behold, the half was not told me. Thy wisdom and thy prosperity exceedeth the fame which I heard. What? When people experience you, like when they hear about you, I heard about them. Yeah, they just, I heard that. Everybody talking about, okay, whatever. And then they come and experience you. See, your reputation is always going to precede you. But danger, Will Robinson, danger, if your reputation exceeds you. Like, is the experience of you anticlimactic from what people heard about you? When they experience you, are you less than your reputation? Or are you more than your reputation? Up in here, up in here. Like, when people meet you, when people experience the brilliance of your assignment, it should be so much better than anything anybody could have described because you are a person of your word. That when they experience you, they're like, I heard it was going to be good, but it's so much better than that. Solomon said, I'm talking about an ounce of proof is worth more than 10,000 pounds of promise. Solomon said, I got 10,000 pounds of promise and a couple $1 million worth of pounds of proof. Come check it out. Then it says, happy are thy men, happy are these thy servants, which stand continually before thee and hear thy wisdom. Blessed be the Lord thy God, which delighted in thee to set thee on the throne of Israel, because the Lord loved Israel forever. Therefore made he thee king to do judgment and justice. God loved the people you serve so much, he sent you. That's what she said. What? Let me ask you a question. Does God love your children so much that he gave them you as a parent? Does God love your clients so much that he gave them to you to be their provider of the service or the product you provide? The Queen of Sheba said, God didn't give you this wisdom because he loved you that much. He gave you this wisdom because he loved the people you're going to serve that much. Do you look at your mission as a demonstration of God's love to the people you serve? That's a good question. Did God give you your spouse as a demonstration of his love for them? Am I talking too fast? The people who work with you in your business or work for you in your business, did God give you them as an employer, give them you as an employer because he loved them? See, here's the problem. Here's the problem. We make the mistake of thinking God brings people into our lives to show us how much he loves us, but he's bringing those people into our lives to show them how much we love them. And by the way, if everybody had that perspective, everybody would win. If everybody came into the relationship, business relationship, marriage relationship, friend relationship, entrepreneurial relationship, if everybody came into the relationship looking for a way to serve and demonstrate God's love, it would change the world in a minute. Blessed be the Lord, which delighted in thee, to set thee on the throne of Israel, because the Lord loved Israel forever. Therefore made he thee king to do judgment and justice. And she gave the king 120 talents of gold. See, we want to skip all the rest of that stuff. We want to get to that part. Just pay me, okay? No. She gave him 120 talents. Now, I researched this, and a talent, depending on where it was from, what country it was from, weighed somewhere between 68 and 74 pounds. One talent, somewhere between 68 and 74 pounds. Now, after I did that calculation, I wanted to find out, somebody do the math for me. So, she paid him 128 talents of gold. So imagine, let's just call it 70 pounds. Let's go in the middle. Call it 70 pounds. 70 times 120 is how much? 8,960 pounds of gold. Multiply that times 16 ounces, because there's 16 ounces in every pound. Multiply that times 16 ounces. How much? 134,360. Let's just call it 134,000. We'll round down. Okay, now, the current price of gold is about $1,900, I think. $1,800, $1,900. So let's multiply that number, whatever that was, 134,000 times $1,900. One client, one consulting session, the Queen of Sheba paid King Solomon, in today's dollars, $286 million in gold. By the way, that's one client. All the kings of the earth came to King Solomon and paid him to learn his wisdom, all of them. And by the way, that wasn't everything she paid him. That was just the gold. But wait, there's more. Okay, verse 10, and she gave the king 120 talents of gold, and spices very great store, precious stones, that's like diamonds and emeralds and rubies and all, okay? So she ain't through paying him, right? And there came no more such abundance of spices as these which the Queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. And then it starts talking about who else brought him gold. And the navy of Hiram brought gold from Ophir, and brought from Ophir great plenty, and on and on and on, all these people. You can go read it on your own time. I'm about to show you something that's going to blow your mind. A man's gift maketh room for him and bringeth him before the great men. The gift that God put a gift in you so you could be a gift. And then people would pay you for that gift. Watch this. Verse 23. King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. And all the earth sought to King Solomon to hear the wisdom that God has put in his heart. Watch what happens next. And they brought every man his present, vessels of silver and vessels of gold and garments and armor and spices and horses and mules, a rate year by year. Here's three things we see Solomon did. Solomon's proof was so great that he became the king of consulting to the kings. He was the king of consulting to the kings. That's so crazy. Okay, y'all ain't feeling it. Y'all ain't feeling it. Okay, let's go back to chapter 4. Let's go back to chapter 4. Okay, after God gave Solomon wisdom. Let's go back to 1 Kings chapter 4. Watch this. This is so amazing. Here's what it says in verse number 29. And God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding exceeding much, and largeness of heart, even as the sand that is on the seashore. And Solomon's wisdom excelled all the wisdom of the children of the east country and all the wisdom of Egypt. He was wiser than all men. Now, you could have edited the sentence there, but God's going to emphasize it. He was wiser than all men, which I would think includes all men. Then Ethan, the Ezrahite, then Haman, and Chachal, and Darda, and the sons of Mahal. These were the guys who were like, these were the people who thought they were his competition. And his fame was in all nations round about, and he spake 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. And he spake of the trees, the cedar tree that is in Lebanon, even the hyssop that springeth out of the wall. And he spake also of beasts, and of fowl, and of creeping things, and of fishes. And there came of all people to hear the wisdom of Solomon from all the kings of the earth. So the kings of the earth sent their people. Why? Because Solomon was going to show them a different way to run a kingdom. And the kings wanted to make sure their citizens didn't revolt when they started running this new government, running this new play they got from Solomon. So they sent the people to go learn from Solomon why it's in their best interest to do the new things the king was going to show them how to do. So King Solomon was the king. He was the king of consulting his contemporaries, but he was also the king of communicating to crowds. Because if all the people on the earth are coming to King Solomon to learn his wisdom, he ain't sitting down talking to them one-on-one. That's why I don't do one-on-one coaching unless I'm consulting a king and they're paying me $40,000 an hour. But Myron, what if they don't have $40,000 an hour? They want to go get consulted from somebody else. And it's okay. Are you tracking? So what happens is, in the scripture says he was a king of consulting to his contemporaries, but he was also the king of communicating to crowds. I've been to Ephesus, the ancient city of Ephesus. They have a coliseum that'll hold 25,000 people. 25,000 people. They have coliseums in Jerusalem that'll hold 13,000 people, 18,000 people, like that were built thousands of years ago. And these big old ginormous stones that are bigger than this state. It's great. It's just mind-blowing, right? Well, King Solomon was a communicator to crowds. You thought Tony Robbins was the first person to do a seminar? Solomon was doing seminars thousands of years ago. Before Tony Robbins even knew his granddaddy thought about being born. King Solomon was a communicator to crowds. And guess what? He was also the king of continuity cash flow. It says they came and they paid him a rate year by year. He didn't charge them once. He charged them every time they showed up. Every time. See, in our modern day society, we think we're doing people a favor when we don't make them pay. But all we're doing is letting them off the hook for paying attention. Because people who pay attention. And people who don't pay attention. And people who pay a little attention. And people who pay a lot of attention. An ounce of proof is worth 7 million pounds of promise. You know, that's true in business, but it's not just true in business. It's true in every relationship. It's true in friendship. Maybe that's why the scripture says, he that hath friends must show himself friendly. It didn't say he that hath friends must believe that he's friendly. It didn't say he that hath friends must think that he's friendly. It didn't even say he that hath friends must say that he's friendly. It says he that hath friends must show himself friendly. Did you? I like what James said. James said, show me your faith without your works. I'll show you my faith by my works. Don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you did. Show me what you did. I don't want to know what you're going, oh, I promise. Prove it. Here's what's interesting. I think about Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson is a good friend of mine. He's a business coach of mine. Russell built a multi-$100-million software business on 3 case studies. He found 3 people whose businesses he could fix. He fixed their businesses for free and broadcast their story everywhere. Wow. What are you saying? I'm saying, let your doing do the talking. Here's what it says in John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him. Without him was not anything made that was made. That's cool. And in him was the life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shined in darkness, darkness comprehended it not. Guess what it says in verse 14? And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory as the glory of the only begotten of the Father. Let me ask you a question. Does your word become your flesh? When you say you're going to do something, do you do it? Do you prove it, or do you just promise it? Do you walk about it, or do you just talk about it? The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. The interpretation of that is exactly what it says. Jesus Christ, who was the living Word, who was the Word, became the living Word and walked among us. But guess what? An application of that is, when my word becomes my flesh, I can dwell among the people I gave it to. When it doesn't, I have to hide from those same people. How many of y'all tracking? And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that if we can't do it, we don't say we're going to do it. And if we say we're going to do it, we do it even if it inconveniences us. Even if it's hard. Even if it costs us more money. Even if it costs us a lost sleep. Even if it costs, become a person of your word. If your word means nothing to you, don't expect it to mean something to me, because you speak a bunch of Christianese or some other reason. Well, Myron, bless you, brother. Okay, that's fine. But you didn't do what you said you were going to do. All the bless you, brother, and that's fine, but that's not you keeping your word. All you're doing is telling me you think not keeping your word is okay because you talk spiritual language. Do what you say you're going to do, or don't say you're going to do it, period. Did you notice how King Solomon's reputation got out there? He wrote 3,000 proverbs. His songs were 1,005. Let me ask you a question. In today's language, that would be 3,000 Instagram posts, 3,000 threads, 3,000 tweets. His songs were 1,005, 1,000 YouTube videos. Do you realize if you did 3,000 posts, posts that had impact, posts that made a difference, posts that mattered, not just this is what I had for breakfast today, nobody cares. Posts that help other people. Posts that shine a light on somebody else's path, not a post that shines a light on your fame. If people know that you can help them, they will beat a path to your door. When I look at, I don't have 1,000 YouTube posts yet, keyword yet. Got 400 and something. February last year I had 40. February last year I had 40, maybe 46 posts, 10,500 subscribers. And guess what I did? I started showing up for the people. I wasn't showing up for me. I want to get a bunch of subscribers. I couldn't have imagined having this many subscribers this fast. I couldn't have imagined it. I didn't care, though. I am going to go on YouTube, and I'm going to disseminate content that people value, and I'm going to do that once a week for 10 years and see how it turns out. We're a year and a half into the journey. It's going fairly well. His songs were 1,005. King Solomon put out content that mattered to people. Not that mattered to him, that mattered to people. And here's what he did. He took everyday things that people understood and showed them uncommon lessons in everyday things. He wrote about trees and about animals and about birds and about insects. Now, how could that be interesting? Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide or overseer or ruler provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth food in the harvest. What do we learn from the ant? Well, we learn all kinds of things from the ant. Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Ant's not lazy. Okay, that's cool. Consider her ways and be wise. Having no guide. An ant is self-taught. They're not waiting for somebody to come by and read the library book to them. They're self-taught. They're like, I'm going to go find what I need. I'm going to go learn what I need to learn. They have no guide. They have no overseer. So not only are they self-taught, but they're self-motivated. They have no ruler, which means they're self-disciplined. They do what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it, the way they're supposed to do it, and they do it that way every time they do it. Guess what? Gather their food in the summer, gather food in the harvest, provide their meat in the summer. What does that mean? An ant thinks winter all summer. When things are good, ants think when things are positive, ants think negative. Yeah, it's summertime now, but I'm not going to party now that it's summertime. I'm going to plan and prepare for winter because winter's coming. But guess what? They think summer all winter. Yeah, it's bad now, but it's going to be good come summertime. And see, human beings do the exact opposite. We think winter all winter, and we think summer all summer. All he did was took something that he observed. He just sat there one day and watched some ants. He said, you know what, I think I'm going to my next seminar is going to be on these ants. Like, his life, his experiences in his life became the lessons for his audience. He just taught them the stuff he knew. Who could do that? All of us can, if we care enough. Like, my goal is I'm going to have 100,000 YouTube subscribers in 6 months. I wouldn't have understood how to think that. Wouldn't have known how to believe that was possible. I just said, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do the thing, and I'm going to do it consistently so people know when they can find me. And so we started doing a video a week. Then we started doing 2 videos a week. Then we started doing 3 videos a week. Then we started doing shorts on off days. Then we backed off to 2 long form and then 5 short forms, and man, is it working like gangbusters. And see, here's what I know. I'm no King Solomon by any stretch of the imagination, but when I get to 5 million subscribers, I'm pretty much going to be able to fill an arena with 1,000 to 10,000 people anywhere in the world, any day of the week I want to. So guess what? I'm going to keep on going. I'm just 10 years. I was thinking 10 years I could probably be to 1 million subscribers. That's what I was thinking last year. So now I'm thinking 10 years I can be at 5 million subscribers. It might be more, but I'm going to keep on going regardless. I'm not doing it for the immediate payoff. It's my long tail strategy. I'm going to write my 3,000 proverbs and my 1,005 songs, and I'm going to keep on posting content that helps people. Why? Because that is how you give them the ounce of proof. You give them for free something that helps them. This YouTube channel, I've had so many people make this comment on my YouTube channel. It's my favorite comment of all comments. I can't believe he's teaching us all this stuff for free. It makes me so happy. And then they go do it, and it works. And people come to my challenge, they say, man, I used something you did on you gave on your free YouTube channel, and I thought, if you help me that much, I can't even imagine how much you'll help me if I pay you. An ounce of proof is worth 10,000 pounds of promise. Show up for the people with something that's valuable to them, and watch how your life changes. Period. It's a wrap. So, my recommendation would be, don't talk about what you're going to do. Show me what you did. And if you will do that in the marketplace, and it's something the marketplace values, the world will beat a path to your door, cash in hand. So go get you some new bags. What kind of bags? Bags to put all that money in, because you showed up with an ounce of proof instead of 10,000 pounds of promise. I hope this blesses you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.